Perfect. All right. And I'll hand it over to you, Patricia, to give an introduction to yourself and your work with Discover Core.
Hi everyone. Yes, like Laila said, my name is Patricia. I am the Galapagos director right here. I am Ecuadorian. I was born right here. I grew up right here. My profession is being a guide and of course, travel specialist right here in Ecuador. So I know every single corner of my country, and one of those is the Galapagos Islands. It's such an amazing country. Maybe it sounds a little bit awful that I brag about it, but it's a place like no other place where you can really enjoy a living laboratory where you can see real changes in, especially in wildlife, how things happen. You can see in the animals, the mix of everything, that not only animals but also the vegetation, how it offers the animals the opportunity to stay there calm without going anywhere else because food is there. So why to even bother to go somewhere else? So that's how we ended up the flightless cormorants. So diverse that we can see the wildlife not only on land, in the water as well. It's such a surprise to see the so much variety of wildlife in the sea. People think that only the efforts made is for the environmental purposes to protect it is on land, but actually inside of the water in the sea there is so much to do as well. So everything is a chain, and everybody who comes can see it easily, and the wonders that the Galapagos Island offers are just amazing. I don't want to say too much because you have to come and experience it and see it by yourself.
Mhm. Absolutely. No, it's one thing to talk about it, it's another thing to experience it and live it. And it's quite an adventure to get out there, the whole experience, which we'll talk about shortly. But thank you so much, Patricia, again for being here tonight. Um, Before I kind of hop into some questions for you, Patricia, I'll just give an overview for everyone. This is a 10-day, 9-night itinerary. As you can see here, we're starting in Quito, then we go to Isabela, and then more Santa Cruz. And I have kind of a map here shortly, I think, where we'll go a little bit deeper into the different islands that we visit. But to kind of start us off, since this trip starts in Quito, like what can people expect in this day and a half there, and to see and experience in some of those highlight items?
Well, Ecuador is a quite diverse country. It's like four countries in one. It's such a small area. We are not a big country. However, we have so much to offer. In Quito, we can see the equator. We can go through some experiments to see and demonstrate why Quito is the middle of the world. Quito, that means equal distance, which is really great. Yeah, with that concept, we can see how amazing it is to be there at the equator. We are the highest point closest to the sun in the whole world, so that makes such a big difference. And you have to come and experience those experiments that we do and see why Quito or why Ecuador it's the middle of the world. We also have the opportunity to see how in Ecuador we have activities that are from our ancestors and keep being alive even nowadays. We visit one specific museum where we see a very traditional activity that it's getting the sap from the agave plant, from which we normally obtain that not only the sap, but we transform it into different products that we use it on regular basis. The sap itself is something that we have been drinking for such a long time, for many generations, and it provides us with a lot of energy to keep working and to go through the day. We also visit the museum where we have the chocolate. It's called the Chocolate Museum, where we will see how Ecuador is number one in the world for the quality of chocolate that we produce in the world. We have won a lot of awards. Actually, it has been really rewarding to see how Ecuador is responsible for producing the finest kind of raw material or cocoa bean to the world to produce the finest
Mhm.
chocolate. And also something that it's amazing right here in Ecuador is that nobody will die of starvation. We have such a great gastronomy, a great variety of food that actually is just amazing and delicious that you cannot miss it. When you come, definitely you have to try the Ecuadorian food. It's just such a wonderful surprise. This is exclusively what it is in Quito, and it takes the
Yeah,
whole day. And sometimes the days are so short. Even one day like that takes so much time that sometimes we're exhausted but happy with all the experiences we have in Quito.
oh, I can imagine. I'm such a chocolate lover too, so I'm jealous. I've bought so much Ecuadorian chocolate over my lifetime, and it's like a dream to be able to experience it. So just yeah, long day, but absolutely worth it for sure. Um and I think we love to mention like what a like again a big adventure it is to get up to the Galapagos Islands, and we can kind of talk about that logistics shortly. But maybe you can give everyone on the call, what is some of the famous unique biodiversity and wildlife encounters that travelers can expect on this trip?
Well, it's hard to say that you are going to have everything there to be seen. For sure, let's remember that this is not a zoo. However, we have a lot of surprises. It's something that it's for sure that we are going to enjoy all the animals that we have there. Like I said before, uh, all the animals in the Galapagos have found food easily that they don't have any needs to go far away. We can see at first sight just by walking sea lions, marine iguanas, land iguanas. We have penguins, we have sharks, flamingos, sea turtles, giant tortoises. Well, it's such a bunch of things that maybe when we are taking a boat ride from Santa Cruz to Isabela, we are so lucky, and a pod of 100 dolphins are around being playful and distracting us. So it's just amazing. As you go with the boat or just walking, you're gonna find something that it's always on your way that it's really wonderful to see.
Yeah, just so alive, like I was going through so many of the photos you sent me, and like you can just see like wildlife in everything, in nature and everything, just looking so beautiful. And yeah, it's just so much diversity. And of course we always joke, we depend on nature, but nature doesn't depend on us. So that guarantee of like getting the opportunity to see all of the wildlife, of course we can't do that, but I think you're in for a treat. It looks like, all of the groups that we've had gone out have just gotten really, lucky with such a diverse a range of wildlife, which is really special. Um, and so, we joke a lot with people on the phone when they're considering the Galapagos. I think people don't realize what a big adventure it is to get there, let alone the flight to Quito. Okay, first you got to do that. Then we spend some time in Quito. And in the morning, we wake up we get on a bus, we go to the airport. Then from the airport, we, of course, fly, and then we arrive, we take a bus, then we take a boat, then we take another bus, if I'm correct. And so once we get there on the islands, can you speak to these little different areas that we're also going to visit? I think, our tour, unlike others that I've seen, really does cover a lot of bases. So it would be cool for you to speak to the different areas that we might have a chance to visit on this itinerary.
Well, yes, our trip starts. I mean, the second day when we had to fly to the Galapagos, our trip starts very early. We try to aim to take the first flight since there are restrictions that nobody can navigate after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So that's why we have to start an early morning. We go together with you guys, I mean, with all the visitors to the airport. I do all the assistance because I want to make sure that everybody flies out of Quito and gets to the Galapagos. So no any issues is going to stop any visitor from going there. It will take like around 3 hours to get to Baltra. Of course, there is a stop in Guayaquil, from where the plane normally has to pick up some other passengers flying from Guayaquil to the Galapagos. That is like around 45 minutes. Also, they need to refuel the plane. And after 3 hours, you land in Baltra. It's a small island. where we have just the airport. There is nothing else. The airport, and of course, some animals, iguanas, basically. And it takes like around 1 hour to leave the airport. It's such a small airport that nobody's gonna get lost. It's just a square place where we have stands where you have to present your passport, pay the entrance fee, and then collect your bag and get out of the airport. When getting out of the airport, the guide is ready to assist you with everything, to be with you the next 8 days, to take you to the bus, take you to the canal. Then you take the ferry, you cross from Baltra with the ferry for 3 minutes to the next island, that is Santa Cruz. We take a bus and we cross the whole island, getting to the town of Puerto Ayora, where we're gonna have lunch. And after lunch, we are gonna get ready to take the speedboat to Isabela. It will take like around 2.5 or 3 hours, more or less, from Santa Cruz to Isabela. Once in Isabela, we go to the hotel and we just rest. It's all we do that day because it's a long day. It's just for traveling. However, we get there like around 5:30, and you can just rest, enjoy the beautiful sunset. We normally aim to have all the hotels very close to the beach or just right next to the beach. And from your window, you can see the sunset, or just walk 1 minute out of the hotel where you are going to be by the beach and just enjoy, rest, chill out. And like at 7 in the evening, we go straight to the restaurant to have a well-deserved dinner. And after dinner, we go to rest. So the day after, or the couple of days that we spend in Isabela, we try to start our activities like around 9 or 10, more or less, so you guys can have the chance to sleep enough, catch up with the sleep of the first day that normally it's very early, and enjoy the time, enjoying the best way that you can, because there is nothing else that it's so pleasant like having the sound of the sea and rocking you while you sleep and rest. So that
Yeah.
is a well-deserved rest.
Yeah, well-deserved rest for sure. No, I'm sure it's so needed, and of course we have a lot of amazing fun things planned the following days. So you want to take advantage of like you said, a sunset and maybe right to bed.
Yes,
Um,
really beautiful. Orange with
oh,
yellow. And at night, when we have a clear night, you can see all the stars, the Southern
oh,
Cross.
I bet.
It's just amazing. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
not so much light pollution there, I'm sure. So it's probably just so clear and incredible.
Yes, yeah, no lights. So the darkness helps you to get all the lights from the stars. So
Totally, totally.
it's lovely. It's really lovely, and it's such a small village that in half an hour you know it all. So
Yeah,
it's lovely.
you can go through the whole walk through town and see it all. That's
Exactly, and it's a
cool.
beach village, so you just walk kilometers and kilometers by the beach, and
Nice.
it's just
That's
rewarding.
beautiful.
So
That's so
yeah, so
relaxing.
relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Not better
Yeah, a nice
yoga than
place to
that.
recharge. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
No better meditation. Oh, amazing. And a lot of this itinerary, we talk about conservation and, we do, different elements of that, but I'm curious kind of what that the little bit of volunteer work we have at the sanctuary and how people, like why this trip is important by visiting these spaces and kind of highlighting the amazing work these organizations are doing.
Well, we have some issues, especially for the giant tortoises that had been affected steadily by the different harmful ways of humans when going to the Galapagos. Uh, Humans, or us as humans, have caused so much damage, especially when bringing new invasive species to the islands. We don't have an overview how fast they are gonna take over the land that should be the space for the endemic plants. So that breaks all the food chain for the tortoises. So the poor giant tortoises have a hard time to find food, and they had to go farther and farther to find food so they can stay in the place where they should. For a long time, we had a lot of problems with the giant tortoises because many of them died of starvation. So we are trying to avoid that. And for those purposes, we really need good hands and strong muscles to try to change that. Sometimes it's really hard because one of the basic species that it's the worst one that we have in the Galapagos is the blackberries. They spread easily and really quick, and sometimes cutting the trees is not enough. We have to dig out and try to pull the roots because they are very strong and they have a lot of roots, so it's not easy to get rid of them. However, we try to clean as much as possible and preserve them and reforest the areas where we have sanctuaries for the giant tortoises and reassure that there will be enough food for the tortoises. So this is something that is extremely important that needs to be done constantly. It's a never-ending story because we think that we are done with this, but suddenly in another spot, the same problem is happening.
Wow, I didn't know that. So yeah, that's so interesting and so important. I mean, man, invasive species really can have such a deep effect on an environment, and what incredible like wildlife. Just seeing these photos and the size, it's yeah, just remarkable. They're like dinosaurs, you know, just like looking like a window into the past, you know, just so
Yes.
beautiful. And I know snorkeling is obviously a major highlight for people on this trip. So can you speak to the snorkeling experiences and you know, what people can expect and the level of activity as well? Or like how much time we're actually spending in the water?
Well, we are very relaxed when it comes to the snorkeling. We are not pushing everybody jump to the water and get out of the water. You have 5 minutes. You have 10 minutes. We try
Mm-hmm.
to do it at a good pace so everybody has the chance to follow the animals that are inside of the water. It's really nice. We find a lot of sea turtles, a lot of sea lions, especially the babies that are so playful. They are, I think that they see that humans have 2 feet and they are very interested in how they move them to try to swim. And while they have the advantage of have the fins and just move around as much as they want. So that's why I think that they are all the time trying to be playful with our feet. It is really nice. But also when you jump to the water, you can see big rays, manta rays, stingrays, and you can see also seahorses, sharks, sharks that are really amazing. And you don't know where to go first or which one to make a picture of first. So it's really rewarding to see all of this, and you feel so lucky that all of this that you can see is just right there. It's not as deep as you need to go just to find these animals. Is just really great. The marine iguanas, it's just amazing to find them swimming and going around finding food. So
So beautiful.
it's lovely. You have enough time to see all of that at your
Hmm.
pace without being pushed. You
I like that.
have snacks in case you have a little bit of tiredness. You can just recharge your batteries in your body and just jump in and just keep going. It's really
Yeah,
nice.
nice. I love that. And yeah, just having that opportunity to really like immerse yourself how you want is really, really nice and having that opportunity. Um, Also just want to ask, you know, those who are considering this again for a family trip. Of course, we say, you know, this is a trip that we encourage. You know, it is family friendly. It also you don't need a family to go on this trip. You can travel as a solo traveler as well. But given that it is a family friendly trip, you know, what age range do you feel is best suited for this experience? And you know, in your experience working and being a guide with so many families, what do you feel like that is like a good ages for families to travel with their kids, given the activity level as well?
I would say that kids from 6 years and up, because if they
Mhm.
are younger, 3, 4, 5, sometimes they get easily tired. And after 10 minutes as a mom, carry me, I don't think that I can walk more. Although our hikes are not that bad, it's at a very low pace. There is no rush. We do it carefully because we cannot hurry up at walking or hiking because there is always something that shows up and we need to keep our pace. But yeah, of course, the level of difficulty is not bad. A 6 years old kid easily can walk at the pace that we normally hike. So 6 years, I think that it's a good age, and also that they can enjoy and see what it is to have a consciousness of what they are seeing and what they are being told by parents and guides of the national park. So I think that that is a great age for kids.
Yeah, which is perfect. And for anyone on the call, that's really what our age requirement is for any of our public trips is 6 years and above. And yeah, I think obviously just, knowing your kid and knowing that it is big, long travel days, I do find a lot of 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds do end up joining the trip, and families might travel with us for their first time to a closer destination and then feel confident in going to the Galapagos when they're a little bit older. But we do accept 6 years and above. But of course, it's up to you in the end. Um, and how do you feel, Patricia, in Galapagos that we're ensuring that, our travelers are having sort of like an immersive and educational experience, and obviously just kind of speaking to the guides as well that we work with. Hmm.
Well, our guides are naturalist guides from the national park. So, and also what is even better, that those guides have grown up in the islands. So they know their islands, they know every single spot, they know what is going on. They are used to living with them since they were small kids. So they can show you directly what they are saying, how they are saying, and get to know everything that they are explaining. So there is not only a theory; it's basically with facts that they show what they are telling you.
Yeah, just so educational. And I think that's,
Yes,
across the
definitely.
board for our trips is being able to have people that are locally from the area, but also that are, educated in these things so that you can ask
Yes.
all the amazing questions and what's this, what's that, and be able to have your, all your inquiries handled, and of course, your safety as well and everything, and being able to provide just such a behind the scenes sort of immersive experience. Um, and I'm interested in like tourism in general for the Galapagos Islands. How has tourism and sustainable tourism kind of played a role in helping to, contribute to a more like responsible form of travel to the islands, and maybe you could speak to that a little bit in
Yeah, sure, definitely. The way that we do this trip, or what does Discovery Corp do with the trip, it's just amazing. It's something that is completely sustainable because we try to uh, leave everything as it was. We try to help um, with the conservation, but also the island hopping, what is locally or how is locally called the kind of trips that Discovery Corp offers is just the kind of the one that offers all the families the opportunity to keep their small businesses. Since there are so many restrictions, all the chain of small businesses benefit from having visitors in the Galapagos. The buses, boats, small grocery stores, shops, um, what else? Small businesses like handicrafts. I don't know. It's hard to mention, but also it keeps the economical flow moving around the islands and they stay in the
mm,
islands. It's different from the big
mhm.
cruise. In the big cruise, everything stays in the company and the big
Yeah,
cruise, and people don't
exactly.
interact with the locals. But right here in
Hmm.
Ecuador, I'm sorry, in the with the trip that Discovery Corp offers, they do actually. They offer the opportunity to interact with the locals, have a meal prepared by the
Hmm.
locals, offered by the
Hmm.
locals, and all the ingredients, basically our seafood directly from the sea. The fish completely fresh, prepared by an Ecuadorian, by a local person from the island. All the mix of ingredients that are used, mostly trying to be produced in the islands.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
all these little details, I think that helps the economy and all the locals. survive in the environment where they are. There are not too many companies, or it's not too developed when it comes to industry. So tourism is the only way how the families survive, and everything
Hmm.
that makes a chain part of the tourism environment.
Yeah, and being able to like actually allow local people to like showcase their home and stay there, and not have to seek elsewhere, like being able to show you their backyard and for you to be able to, we always say, travel like a traveler, not a tourist, like, go
Exactly.
there to meet others and to really engage and see their life and it's different to show up, but like you said, on a cruise and you get on and off the boat, but you're not really putting any of your money, directly into
Yes,
the hands of those local people. So we're very passionate about activating those, those rural or more local economies. And you just really get, you make some friends. You get to make deeper connections
very
than what
true.
you would do, doing it any other way. So thank you for that. I think it's a really, really important aspect of our trips. Um, I know for a lot of people, I get this question a lot, Patricia, on the phone. Is just, what's the Charles Darwin Research Station? What do we get to see? Can you speak to that experience a little bit, on, our opportunity to visit this center and what travelers can expect in that experience as well?
Well, actually, in the Galapagos research station, we basically see the breeding center, how it is working, how the different tortoises. Right here, we talk about tortoises, please. This is important to make a difference between the land tortoises or the land giant tortoises and the water turtles, that it's completely different. We try to take advantage of the great environment and the initiatives that Charles Darwin Station and the National Park take in order to preserve the different species that are belonging. I mean, different giant tortoise species that belong to the different islands, to make sure that the different islands are populated with the correct kind of species that belongs to each island when it comes to the giant tortoises, because many of them suffer from starvation, like I told you, and some other different issues that made him disappear in some cases. And one of those was Lonesome George, that most of you must have heard. And
Right.
of course,
Mm-hmm.
we can see how it is the most representative species that we had, the last of its kind in the Charles Darwin Station. But not only that, there are so many other projects that Charles Darwin Station is carrying on. But protecting the water, so many kinds of plants that are algae, and also plankton, that it's basically the food for different species like small birds and big birds. I'm sorry, fish as well. So this is something that is getting affected a lot, and it's one of the things that it's been taken care of by the Charles Darwin Station together with the national park. There are some other initiatives like they are working very hard in protecting the sea lions. For some reason, they are having some issues, like with sometimes they appear with distemper, something that it's not in their environment, actually comes from dogs,
Mm-hmm.
that are not vaccinated, maybe, that sometimes locals
Okay.
have. Some of the turtles are also being slightly affected by the weather, by the food. Sharks, actually, sharks is a big thing that it's happening now, that are trying to be protected, especially the hammerhead sharks. They have also
Mm-hmm.
they are also facing some issues in their environment. So a little bit of all of this, not just out of the water, but in the water. There are some investigations a lot about the different kind of insects that by mistake are taken together with cargo ships that bring all the food into the Galapagos.
Wow.
So, for
Yeah,
example,
in the
there is a
cargo
special
ship.
fly that is
Mm-hmm.
affecting the eggs of the finches, because the
Mm-hmm.
larvae eat the eggs of the finches, and there are some of them that are already in danger of extinction. So they are doing everything in their power to try to stop and avoid all of this that is happening.
No, it's incredible work, and it's that type of kind of like deep research that we love to showcase. I recently traveled to Baja, Mexico, which is kind of nicknamed like the mini Galapagos of the world, right? And there's a lot of amazing research going on there. And when my husband got to join us, and he was like, I feel like this is what an element of a Discover Core trip is, like meeting these researchers and like learning from them and really getting that insight and like doing travel in again a more educational way. You learn so much and you help to like it helps to see the world a different way, that you might have ever imagined. And you look at, nature differently after, meeting people who spend their whole lifetime just like researching these things and trying to improve it. So it's very inspiring. I also wanted to just ask you a little bit about the Amazon extension. I think it's such a unique opportunity that we have for those to have an opportunity to go out and experience the Amazon. For those who are looking, there's some photos here. We do use two different lodges, so we can't guarantee which one we're going to use. It will all depend on availability. But can you speak really high level, Patricia, on the experience in the Amazon and kind of what people can expect as well from that experience?
Well, this is some of the places that is amazing. It's just hard to explain in words how diverse and how beautiful the Amazon region is. I have to say that everything is unexpected
Mm,
because it's all the animals there are shy. They are hiding, so it's just a big surprise to find something as you walk to see maybe at night the insects so colorful, so amazing.
mhm,
In the morning, very early, all the monkeys very active. You don't expect the ones that are very small walking around without expecting something is moving between the leaves, and it's the monkeys just passing through. The beautiful songs that all the, or not songs, but singing, the singing of the so many birds. We can
mhm,
see so many birds. Sometimes it's hard to believe that a small tiny teenager has 7 colors in the whole body. You
right.
cannot understand how such a
Colorful.
small bird, or believe that such a small bird has so many colors, 7 colors. The kingfishers just surprising you and going really
Mm,
fast trying to get some fish while
mhm,
flying over the river. Or you just go to the top of the tower from where you can see animals, monkeys, sloths, um, what else? Birds that are so high to find at a low distance. You have to go really high to the top of a tower that is maybe 30, 35 meters high up to be able to find all the different kind of species that are on the top of the trees.
mhm,
Suddenly, a bunch of macaws scared you just by flying from where they were, hiding from the sun, maybe in the shade. In the water also, when you just go canoeing and looking for caimans, for example, and they are there. You see them so quiet, just moving slowly in the water, trying
mm,
to hunt. So many rodents at night, and why
yeah.
not? Maybe ocelots, since we have a bunch of diverse animals. We have jaguars, we have pumas, we have capybaras, that is the biggest rodent that we can find.
Mhm,
Everything has this misty way in the jungle that is like a discovery way of the nature. It's just
mm,
amazing. You have to just leave it by yourself and see it. Trying to go to find piranhas and fishing them, and why not prepare them and have a good dish with piranhas?
wow, I
Better that you
didn't.
eat them before they eat you. So
Yeah, okay.
why not?
I know I've never had piranhas, so I'll put that on my list of things to do when I come visit you all there.
Oh
That's,
yes, you are very welcome. We'll be waiting for you down here.
oh, that's awesome. Very, very cool. No, and anyone who's, of course, considering the extension, if you have any more like deep inquiries, you can let us know after this as well. Um, the accommodations for the main trip, I'm taking these photos from our travel portal, which anyone will speak to in a second. I'll have Layla introduce it. But these are photos directly taken from there that you can reference. It breaks down, which nights we're actually going to be staying there, as you can see in the first night in Quito, and then of course the rest of the time. We have from nights 3 to 5 in Isabela Island. We have two different hotels that again we might stay at. And then similarly night 6 to 9 as well. So there is some variation there. We stick with these hotels, but it can vary depending on when you're going and how early you book in advance as well for which places we're able to get hotel holds from. But just want to reference those hotels. And this is a signature journey. So at Discover Core, we have kind of two different trips that we like to differentiate. We have our grassroots expeditions, which are a little bit more on the rustic side or have, more of like a 3-star hotel. In this scenario, it's a signature journey, so a little bit higher end hotels. You can see quite nice and comfortable and very beautiful. So you can expect to be quite comfortable. So, in our research, we often say the best time to travel is November through June. Do you feel that that's true, Patricia? Do you have another, any sort of insights on the best time to go to Galapagos or any opinions about weather that I might not know about?
Yeah, well, I have to mention that um, June starts to become a little bit colder, not too cold like August, September, part of
Okay.
October, but actually you have the advantage of also seeing animals even when you have to wear your wetsuit because there is no any other way. You're gonna feel how cold the water is. The water is a little bit choppy this time of the year, but you don't have the strong sun that normally you have from November to May, more or less.
Okay.
It's quite sunny. We have the rainy season, but it's quite sunny, and the sun is very strong. So, but
Mm-hmm.
also you find delightful the water. So if you're hot, the best way to be cooling down is go to jump to the water, those wonderful turquoise water that you can enjoy in the Galapagos, and so clear, so clear that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some people that have some issues with when swimming for different reasons, they are happy just to get on a boat that has a glass bottom and
Mm-hmm.
they can see through because it's so clear the water that Galapagos
Wow.
offers that it's just amazing. It's possible to see it. And yes, I think that you enjoy this time of the year because it's such a nice weather. Yes, then you think that you are indeed in the islands because it's warm, humid, and really wonderful to see all the wildlife with a bright, very bright sun.
Yeah, beautiful photos, I can imagine. It's just so picturesque. Um,
Actually, yes, that is the very picture is the one that you just showed. That is
uh-huh.
Bartolome. That's
Okay.
the most pictured islands where we have a viewpoint, but sometimes when you are there, it gives you the idea that it's like you are in and on the moon because it
Mm,
has like craters. It's just
right.
amazing how it looks. This is our very iconic picture of the Galapagos that appears everywhere because when you go there, you have an idea more or less how the island emerged. So
Mm,
it's
mm-hmm.
wonderful, and this is one of the islands that we visit when we are there. Actually,
Okay, it's so beautiful. It also the mountains almost made me think of like turtle shells, and like
yes,
just I love how environments mirror a lot of like nature that's around, and it's just so magical. That's a really beautiful,
very
beautiful photo.
magical.
I loved looking through everything you sent. Um, so I'll give we'll open it up to Q&A shortly. So if you have any questions, I know we already have one in there, so I'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to give Layla a chance to just talk about the travel portal and the pre-departure support that we offer. Of course, it's my job to kind of fit you into the right trip, figure out which date you want. And then there's this handover to the pre-departure team. And in this case, Layla is our pre-departure coordinator. So Layla, can you speak a little bit to the travel portal and what kind of resources people have to prepare them for this trip?
So yes, exactly like Lynn said, once you are signed up for a trip, then you'll start talking with me, one of the coordinators, and you will have this to look at, the travel portal. You can actually look at it even if you're not signed up for a trip, just out of curiosity on information.
Mhm.
But there is specific information on each trip. So, for example, there will be the itinerary, the accommodations, the flight windows. That's a very important one. If there's any visa requirements, vaccination requirements, all of that will be on the travel portal. You can, of course, always reach out to us if you have more specific questions. But the great thing about the Galapagos is it's pretty straightforward, where you don't need, there's no visa requirement for Americans at least. There's no vaccination that's required for Americans. So that's really nice. But again, like the flight window, there's a very specific flight window for the day you arrive and the day you depart. If you
Mm-hmm.
decide to arrive early or depart late, we also have our recommended hotels on there where our guide would come pick you up on the first day of the trip. So again, this is a great area or great portal to look at for a lot of information for all the trips.
Yeah, exactly. And it is really our go-to resource. We're always updating this with more information and trying to improve it. You know, we get a lot of feedback from our groups. And so anything that we might see that would be helpful for anyone to know, we add it there. There's an amazing packing list. So it's something to definitely look forward to. So I'll open it up. I know we're heading to the top of the hour here. Want to end the last 10 minutes with some questions. But really quickly, you know, what's included in this experience? We often say, you know, Discover Core, like from the front to end, it really is a sort of all-inclusive experience, except for your international airfare. So as Layla was mentioning, you know, arriving and departing in these windows that we give you. We do have a flight partner known as Wings Travel that can help make those kind of detailed travel plans for you. And if you want to know more, I put our info at Discover Core email. I get those emails, so happy to respond to anyone as well with any sort of more detailed questions as well if we don't get to the Q&A or your specific questions. But yes, no flights not included, any sort of travel insurance, as Layla mentioned, visas or vaccines in this scenario, nothing to worry about. But in some of our other destinations, this would be something to consider. But what you can expect is again that local bilingual guide, somebody who's really going to be able to bring you beneath the surface of the destination you're traveling to, and also these specialist kind of step-on guides that come that might receive us at the Darwin Research Station, for example, or things like that. Having that more intimacy. And then, of course, your lodging accommodations in this scenario, more of a 4 to 5 star lodging style. Of course, your meals and clean drinking water, reliable transportation, all of the admissions and entrance fees. And then we do include medical insurance, which includes emergency evacuation insurance. So I'll start going through some of the questions already. I know, let's see here. For some reason, my chat. For some reason, I can't see what the question was before. I don't know why it's not showing up for me. Can you see it, Layla?
Yeah, I can let
Sorry.
you know. So the
Okay.
question was, do we travel by boat to the island where we're doing the conservation on a daily basis? Is it an all-day service day?
Patricia, do you mind
Yeah.
speaking to that? Are you
Uh,
on there still?
yes, we will do it in Santa Cruz, basically. We go to the high part and we work basically in restoring the environment for the giant tortoises. We do it in for a couple of days. The day that we take the boat to Santa Cruz, we try to do it at a good pace. We get to Santa Cruz well early because it's the only chance that we can take the boat that leaves at 6 in the morning. Then we will go to have breakfast. And after breakfast, we'll go to the hotel if the rooms are available. Most of the time, they are. Very seldom they are not ready because the check-in is at 3. But normally, we always have them ready. And after that, we go to the high part. where we are gonna work in the service. So we stay there until 5 or 5:30. We are gonna be back to the town, and then the day after we are gonna have also service the whole day in the high part.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. That's great. I don't know if anyone else has any questions. My Q&A has arrived back, so I can I can see it now. Not sure if anyone else on the call has any questions that you want to let us know. Otherwise, we'll try to wrap it up for everyone. And I really want to thank you, Patricia, for taking the time to come on here and help educate our potential future travelers on Galapagos and be able to speak to your lived experience is so valuable. And we're so grateful for what you do at Discover Core. And we know everyone who meets you too on the ground just like loves you, and we're just so grateful for what you're able to provide. Really, you just exude so much like passion, and really appreciate it. So thank you for joining
One
us this evening. Mhm.
one more thing that I wanted to add. Well, when we work in the high part, we do the reforestation, but we do it while enjoying the company of the giant tortoises, because they are walking around, watching when you are working, seeing what you're doing. Sometimes when we have enough time, we try to make ponds as well, because the giant tortoises need to go into the water. So we try
Mm,
to make also big ponds where they can just jump and cool down, because it's too much sun. Let's remember that they are reptiles, so it's important that they have a spot with enough water and mud to cool down. So just to let you know that while you are doing service, you are going to be surrounded by the giant tortoises, trying to see and discover what you are doing, what those humans are doing. So
That's awesome.
that's what I wanted to add.
No, that's such a cool experience, and I think in some of the previous photos, like you really are so up close and getting that experience so like immersed is really really amazing. So really appreciate you, Patricia. Say hi to the team for us. We're really
Thank
really
you.
grateful for everything, and thank you for everyone who joined and took their time out of their evening to learn more about Galapagos. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we'll be here for you. So hope everyone has a great evening, and talk to you all soon.
Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. It was a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.